left an hour late, it's fine. I've got so much time in Soyo to hang out. So I came to a conclusion yesterday, researching accommodation, transportation and the rest, that it was in my best interest really to get the ferry at 9 o'clock, turned out to be 10 o'clock to Soyo, arrive 12, 1 o'clock, hang out for a few hours, have some food, have some coffee, go to the cinema maybe, and then get the night bus from there straight to Luanda. So that's what I'm going to do. It leaves at 8:30, gets there at 4:30 tomorrow morning, which is a bit of a bitch, but I've got a very nice place to stay in Luanda, and they've already agreed to let me in at 7 a.m, which is nice. So, I don't know, sit down on a park bench for a couple of hours, I guess. It feels good to be at sea. It feels good to be at sea. Anyway. Right, well, just got off the boat, waiting for the baggage to be put through. It's taking a rather long amount of time, actually. But yeah, it wasn't bad. It was rough seas. It was rough seas. Took 4 hours instead of 3 because we had to go quite slowly because of the rough seas, and a lot of people were ill. They were handing out sick bags like you wouldn't believe. True to form, I found a place to lie down and fell asleep. A pro tip for people who are prone to seasickness. I am not really, but I must admit that the seas were rough and I felt a little bit off. So I lay down and fell asleep. If you're horizontal, there's less space for your insides to move around, and I've always felt a lot better. And usually when I'm horizontal, I will doze off, so I did. It was alright. Right, so off the boat, grabbed Abby, and my first thought, of course, was to find the nearest bar, which I have found, but unfortunately, of course, I am 12 days deep into sober Septober, which is 20% of the way, so I'm having a Sprite. Right, so I have plenty of time. It's currently 3:30. I have the bus from here to Luanda tonight, 8-hour bus, scheduled to leave at 8:30. Honestly, I would be perfectly happy if it was an hour later than that, because that means I'd arrive in Luanda at about 6 a.m, then just get hopefully a taxi to my accommodation and everything should be hunky-dory. So, not bad, really. I started going this morning about 7 o'clock, went to the hotel to get Wi-Fi and just messaged my people and so forth, and then got to the ferry terminal at 8, checked in. We actually left at 10, arrived about an hour ago, so 2:30. So, you know, as I said, choppy. It was a rough crossing, man. And as I mentioned at the terminal, I fell asleep. Reminded me, my dad was a passionate sailor when he was young, and he was damned good at it too. My parents' house has ceramic and pewter cups for the times when he won race or placed in races, racing dinghies like Merlin rockets and 505s, that sort of thing. And we had a small sailing yacht by the name of Shadowfax. I've always loved that. And there's what's called a quarter berth, which is in the bow of the boat, and you've kind of got a dividing line like that, and this side I think was the rope blocker, and that side was essentially just a firm mattress. And especially when it was choppy, but a lot of the time I went down there to read, And especially when it was quite, the weather was a little bit big, I always used to doze off. So that's what I did this time. It was very, very rough. And an awful lot of people were fairly violently ill. I was fine, of course. But I stretched myself out like this over three seats with my feet on the ground and my knees up to my head supported, and I fell asleep for an hour, which was quite nice, because this day is not ambitious, not for a guy like me anyway. As I say, 3-hour crossing turned into 4. Got here 2:30. My bus leaves tonight at 8:30. I still have to find my way to the bus station to buy a ticket and make sure I know where it is. I was intending to perhaps go to the cinema to kill some time. I don't know if I'm going to have time for that now. I'll see. But so just relaxing with Sprite in the shade. Once I've revitalized myself slightly, gonna walk off, try and find myself, stumble across a hotel with Wi-Fi just to get logged on and see whether the bus company have messaged me back on WhatsApp. But on a good place, I have plenty of time. And then if the bus leaves on time, which it won't, 8:30, I arrive in Luanda at 4:30 tomorrow morning. If the bus leaves an hour late, which is far more preferable, arrive at 5:30. And, you know, sit down for half an hour and then get a taxi to my accommodation for 7 o'clock. Looks like quite a nice place. Luanda, like a lot of places around here, kind of has a promontory and then a spit that sticks out like this. My accommodation is in the middle of that spit, and apparently the terrace has 180 degrees sea views, air conditioning, decent Wi-Fi. It looks to be quite nice, really. And of course, I saved on a night's accommodation tonight because I'm sleeping on the coach. So yeah. Evening, friends. So, another episode of Karma is Jeff's Homegirl. So, I finished my soft drink and I picked a direction and started walking, looking for Wi-Fi to sort out for my bus ticket and all the rest, because I hadn't been given, I had been messaging, but I hadn't been given the address to go to pick up the ticket and get the bus. So I was walking along this main road here, and there were a massive amount of banks. There were literally like 10 banks. And I saw a sign saying information. So I knocked on the door, walked in. This very nice lady who was in the middle of an ice cream said hi, spoke reasonably good English. And so I asked, do you know where Gira bus service is? And she was like, tell you what, hold on. No, I'm probably going to go to a hotel and use the Wi-Fi and all of that. Well, my nephew works at the Hotel Pampa. I'll give him a call. So I gave him a call. I spoke with him briefly on the phone. He offered to come and pick me up and take me to the hotel, which is just a few minutes drive. It's about 15 minutes walk. I was like, that's ever so kind of you. And then got in the car and he was like, so you're getting a bus now? I'm like, yeah. Do you know where Gira bus service is? He goes, well, try Macon. Drove the opposite direction, back the way I'd come. Stopped at the Macon garage. Macon is a different bus company. Ascertained that there was a bus at 9 o'clock tonight, bought a ticket. It was a shade more expensive than the one I was going to buy, but ticket in hand and knowing where the bus is. 9 p.m. He then drove me back here to the hotel. I've been here ever since, with Wi-Fi and power and a coffee and a couple of drinks, that's it. And he's coming back at 8 o'clock to drive me to the bus station. Nice people, good people. Of course I'm going to offer him some money when we get to the bus station. Absolutely no hassle at all. Karma is a wonderful lady of my acquaintance. So it's currently 7 o'clock. I've charged my devices, having another 7-Up. Normally I live on tea during Sober October, but you know, I have a freshly brewed flask of tea for the coach. I've had an espresso. I'm not having any more coffee tonight, so a soft drink it is. But it's been a good day. and it's only going to get better because I arrive in the morning to Luanda, early access to my accommodation for at least a week. I might stay for 2 because it's a good price, and unless I miss my guess, it's a very nice place to be. I love that I've broken the back of this trip now. Yeah, that's a good feeling. I hope you're all alright. Evening, friends. So my last hour in Soyo. I'm out walking around the town with my man Helnerio, who's been so kind to me, and his little brother Ali. Just walking around the town showing me the sights. It's a small town, but it's been fun. And in about an hour my bus leaves for Luanda. I've had a good day.